Hello everyone. Today I'm making the other new movie in order to finish our chapter 18. Title is Measuring the Price Level and Inflation. Okay, so this is should be the last movie for chapter 18. Previous movie we stopped by slide 49. And content of this slide I already explained or I already presented. Okay, so now we go into new point of chapter 18. New point is about true cost of inflation. The true cost of inflation. For this point we have one question. Why do people worry too much about inflation? Why do people worry too much about inflation? Okay, or why is inflation the problem for people? Okay, there are some reasons to explain this answer. The first, inflation makes and increases in overall price level of goods and services in economy in a country. Okay, so when inflation in one economy or in one country, when this economy or when this country has inflation, we can see that the overall price level of goods and services will going up. Okay, increasing, will be more expensive. Inflation also alerts the demanders, the consumers, the buyers to economize on their use of goods or services. That's why when inflation comes, the price of goods and services going up. So buyers, seller will use their goods or their services carefully. That's why they are economize on their use of goods and services. Okay. Inflation creates static or noises in the price system. Inflation creates static or noise in the price system. So noise, I mean sound, make sound. So when inflation happened, or when we have inflation, inflation make our price become louder. Louder. What does mean louder? People try to talk about price. Why? Because when the price going up, when the price going up or price of goods become more expensive, people tend to discuss, people tend to talk about this one. Okay, people tend to talk about that one, and that's why the price system in economy will be alert everywhere or will be noise everywhere. Obscuring information transit by price. Okay, so inflation we can see by information transmitted by price, because when price going up, this is inflation. When the price going up, what happened to especially buyer? So buyer will talk a lot, talk about inflation. That's why inflation make a price system become louder or noise or maybe change. Okay, because the price become increasing, the price people tend to talk too much about inflation. As a result, inflation reduces efficiencies of market system. This reduction in efficiency imposes a real economic cost. Reduce efficiency of market system. What does it mean, reduce efficiency of market system? That means when inflation come or when we have inflation, price of goods or services going up. That's why what happened to demander? Demander will buy less. Okay, so when they buy less, as a result, producer have no reason to produce more. This represents the reduced efficiencies of market system. Okay, The market system for one goods or one services or goods services in economy before inflation, they buy more, they sell more. Therefore, market run more efficiently. Market system run more efficiently. But when inflation coming, the price of goods services go up. That's why buyer will economize on their use of goods services by use goods services carefully and also buy less. So when buyers or consumers or demanders buy less, for the supply side there is no reason to supply more. That's why they also supply less. So this case is about reduce the efficiency of market system. Okay. So the reduction in efficiency imposes a real economic cost. So what does it mean, real economic cost? Okay, when talk about impose a real economic cost, what does it mean? It could be GDP down, because economic activity in this economy or in this country less than before, GDP down, or unemployment go up. Okay, GDP down, that means production less jobs, less employment, less income, less products, less services, less expenditure. On the other side, unemployment go up. Unemployment go up, maybe poverty coming, or the others, maybe violence, or maybe social cost, or the others that related to economic cost coming. That's why reduction in efficiency, market efficiency, imposes or lead to the real economic causes. Second one, inflation raises the people's nominal income and would force them to pay high percentage of income tax. Okay, what does it mean? It means that, for example, one economy, let's say in one economy, if you based on the tax law, let's say based on the tax law, if you earn $300 per month, okay, so you need to pay 0% tax. I mean tax exemption. If you earn from 301 and over, maybe to some amount, you need to pay tax. Tax is not 0%. That's why you need to pay tax. Sometimes maybe 5%, and then you need to pay 10%, or it become more your 15%. But in terms of this one, is affect only 5%, because this is the fundamental rate tax income. 10% or 15% really not affected, because if you have more and more more salary or more and more income, you need to pay this one automatically. But in terms of 5%, sometimes you pay or not paid. For example, this one. Okay, if you earn $300 based on tax law, you don't pay because 0. But if you earn $301, you need to pay tax income. That means maybe let's see 5%, not 0%. 5% cannot be 10, cannot be 15. 5% from 101 and to some amount. Okay, 5% and some amount to the other amount, maybe 10%. Or maybe this amount to the other amount, maybe 15%. Okay, that's why 10%, 15% automatically. If you have more or higher salary, automatically you need to pay 10% or 15% or 5% exactly must pay. But in this case, I'm talking about the one who have salary just below the tax level, tax income level, or just a little bit higher than the tax income level. Okay, so in this case, for example, Based on the world economy, if you earn $300 per month, you don't need to pay tax. If you earn more than this one, you need to pay tax. Okay, so suppose that inflation coming. When inflation coming, your salary will be not $300. So you will ask to get higher salary in order to compensate with inflation. Okay, let's say inflation increased by 3%. That's why $300 right now. You cannot, if you still get $300 the same as before, while the price go up. That's why you cannot buy the same quantity. You cannot buy the same quantity. So what happened? You can buy less. You cannot buy the same quantity, but however you will buy less. That's why it cannot be the same quantity buying, because the same income while the price of goods which go up, so you cannot buy the same quantities of goods which are before. So you will buy less. That's why in order to maintain your quantities of goods which is consumption or yes, you need to get higher higher income. For example, if price increased by 3%, you will ask your company to increase your salary 3% in order to get the same basket. Okay, so when you get higher, suppose that your company yes agree to increase your salary by 3% because they see that the tax or the price in goods which is in the market increased by 3%. That's why your income right now not 300, will be 300 something. Okay, will be 300 something. So what is 3% of 300? 3% or 300 when you need to count 300 multiplied by 3%. Okay, what is it? 9. You get $9 extra because this is 0, this is 0. You get $9 extra. That's why your salary right now is 309. Okay, if your salary is 309, you need to pay tax 5%. Okay, you need to pay tax 5%. Okay, so in this case, inflation raises the people money income or nominal income and would force people to pay high percentage of tax income. Before they pay 0 tax, but now they pay 5% tax. Okay, why they need to pay tax while before you don't pay tax? Because your salary increasing. Why is salary increasing? You work better than before? No, your work is still the same thing as before. Your working capacity is still the same thing as before. It's still the same thing as previous year. But if you work the same thing as previous year, why this year your salary go up? Your salary go up not because of your capacity, but because of inflation. Okay, that's why inflation force you to pay tax, and if you get more and more, you will pay higher tax. If you get more because inflation go up, so you get more and more income or more and more salary, you need to pay higher tax rate. Okay, so why do people worry too much about inflation? Because inflation force them to pay tax income. Force them to pay tax income because their salary is going up. Their salary going up not because of their capacity, working capacity. Their working capacity is still the same thing as before, but this is because of price going up. When the price going up, they ask for higher salary in order to maintain the same basket, the same quantities of goods and services consumption. That's why when the price going up, their salary must going up. That's why when their salary going up, they need to pay tax. Okay, so this is a problem. This is a problem. Or maybe I can say the other one. Let's say 301 to maybe 500. You need to pay tax 5%. From 501 to 800, you need to pay tax 10%. Okay? Suppose that your salary before 500. Sorry. This is the other level, not 5%. Suppose that your salary before 500. So every month you pay tax 5%. And the rest, after paying tax, you can go to buy goods. Okay, you can go buy goods with the price not increasing because inflation not coming. So you can buy quantities of goods with the price of one level, some price not yet going up. Okay, with the price level. So suppose that when inflation not coming, so you got $500 per month, you pay tax 5%. And then after paying tax, you get this money to buy goods with the price paying, let's say some amount. That's why you can buy goods. But when inflation coming, price goes up. When inflation coming, price goes up. If the price goes up with the same $500, you cannot buy the same shoe. Especially you will buy less than shoe. Less than shoe, that means lower standard of living, because you consume less quantities of goods with this. That's why you ask your company to hire, to pay higher salary. Okay, because our inflation go up. That's why your company increase your salary. Let's say inflation 2%, so your salary will increase by 2%. Okay, your salary increased by 2%. So 500 multiplied by 2%, what is it? $10. That's why your salary become 510. So in this case, your salary must to pay tax not 5% right now, but 10%. Because from the range of salary or the range of income from $501 to 800, you need to pay 10% tax. That's why right now, before you used to pay tax income 5%, but now you need to pay tax income up to 10%. The reason why you need to pay high tax income, because your salary go up. Why is your salary go up? Is it because of your working capacity better than before? No, your working capacity is still the same thing as before. But why is your salary go up? Because the price go up. Okay, so price go up because of inflation. So inflation make your income go up. That's why you need to pay higher income tax, higher rate of income tax. Okay, this is two example for second reason. Because of that one, people worry too much about inflation. They got higher salary, but sometimes they cannot keep the same quantities of goods with this, because they pay higher rate of income tax. Okay, so sometimes when they pay higher rate of income tax, so their quantities of goods received may be a little bit lower than before. That's why their standard of living may be not really the same thing as before, even though their income or their salary go up. Because when their salary, their income go up, they pay higher rate of income tax. And then after paying tax, they get this money that is come to buy good. Maybe the good that they get from spending this income not really the same thing as before, maybe a little bit lower. That's why this is Okay, this is problems. As a result, their real income may not increase. This is we call Brexit grips. Okay, what's the mean? Brexit grips is a situation of real income not increasing while money income increasing. Money income increasing because of inflation, not because of working capacity. Inflation distorts or changes the tax system, meaning distorts the incentive provided by tax system for people to work, save, and invest. Okay, that's why inflation changes the tax system, because before, let's say previous example, if you earn $300, that's why you don't need to pay tax. But now because of inflation coming, you need to pay tax 5% because your salary increase. This is the first example. Second example, you have $500, you used to pay 5% tax, but because inflation coming, so your salary go up more than $500. If your salary going up more than $500, you need to pay 10% rate of tax right now, not 5%. Okay, that's why sometimes if they pay more tax, income tax, so they maybe change their behavior in terms of working, saving, or investment. The third reason, inflation creates shoe leather cost. Shoe leather cost. Shoes the people wear in order to walk. Okay, shoe leather costs are traditional cost. Actually, they not mention only shoes cost. They mention about resource used. Okay, resources used. So inflation create or make people pay or spend more resources to use. People won't hold cash in hands or money in hands when there is inflation occurring, because their cash in hands will lose purchasing power. Okay, I give example. Look at Mr. A. They keep $100 in hand, not put in the bank. Okay, today, and because the price today is, because of price of good that Mr. A want to buy, the price is $10. That's why today, if Mr. A have cash in hand $100 and buy the goods, Mr. A will buy 10 units, right? Okay, Mr. A have $100 in hand today. Price the goods services today $10. That's why Mr. A can buy 10 units. Actually, tomorrow, if tomorrow coming, this is tomorrow. Tomorrow, if Mr. A not buying today, okay, if Mr. A not buying today, suppose that they buy, he buys tomorrow. He will buy tomorrow. That's why if he does not buying today, $100 today and $100 today and $100 tomorrow is the same thing. But price tomorrow is not, let's say 10. Price tomorrow increase up to 12. So if Mr. A will buy, they buy less than 10 units. He, not here. So Mr. A will buy less than 10 units of goods. Why? Because the price go up. Why is price go up? Because inflation. That's why. Let's say price increased by 20% because from 10 to 12. Okay, when the price increase while in money is still the same, so the quantity will drop down. That's why Mr. A not happy. So in this case, Mr. A today, if he not buying and he does not buying, and tomorrow he expected that the price go up, and he will buy good tomorrow. That's why Mr. A will take this, go to the bank. Okay, to take this money, Mr. A does not hold this money in hand but deposit in a bank. Okay, deposit in bank provide Mr. A with interest. Okay, Mr. A will take interest to adjust with inflation. Okay, why Mr. A need to take this money to deposit in bank? Because if Mr. A keep money in hand from today to tomorrow, their purchasing power, money purchasing power will lower. $100 to today has power to buy 10 units, but if price go up tomorrow, $100 tomorrow will buy less than 10 units. That's why purchasing power of $100 tomorrow will less than today. So next month as well, if the price not yet today, maybe next month, this is this month, this is next month, so Mr. A will go to the bank to deposit, and the bank will pay Mr. A interest. Mr. A will take this interest in order to adjust with inflation. Okay, so at the end of this chapter, you can see this one about interest rate and inflation rate. Okay, that's why Mr. A go to deposit to the bank, and when Mr. A want to buy goods, Mr. A go to the bank again to take money and to buy goods. Okay, so when they go to the bank to take money, withdraw money, Mr. A also get money, get interest from the bank. That's why Mr. A can adjust interest from the bank earn from the internet bank to adjust the inflation rate. That's why not only Mr. A, everyone deposit the bank and go to the bank to withdraw, deposit the bank and go to the bank withdraw. That's why their shoe will become useless, cannot be used because old. Because old, they cannot be used. That's why this is because shoe leathers cost. But actually not shoe leather cost. Shoe leather cost is not a real problem. The real problem is Mr. A need spend time from their office or from home to the bank, and then go to office or go home to the bank, and then go to office to go to office, go to home, go to bank, deposit, withdraw, deposit, withdraw. That's why Mr. A spend a lot of time going to the bank, come back, going to the bank, come back. Okay, if Mr. A spend much time go to the bank and come back, go to the bank, come back, Mr. A will be absent from work, absent from office. So what happened to their work or to his work? His work will be late, cannot finish on time. That's why their achievement, his achievement will be lower. So their salary cannot, his salary cannot increasing. That's why this is we call resource used. Okay, not shoe leathers cost is a small one, is a part of this cost, but the main is time used, energy used, because that's why this is we call traditional cost. Traditional cost because you don't have, let's say, you don't have taxi or you don't have train, you need to walk, or maybe you need to use bicycle. Okay, so this is the third reason why do people worry too much about inflation. But okay, so people must visit the bank often to visit and withdraw the cash. Why you need to visit to the bank to deposit? Because bank will provide them the interest. That's why they take interest in order to adjust inflation. Even though cash or these costs are dramatically reduced in modern technological economies, but it is still a cost. In modern technological economies, so this cost is not important. Why? For example, you can see in our country right now. Okay, in our country right now, you don't need to go to the bank often, or you don't need to go to the bank. Maybe you just go to the ATM close to your office or close to your home. You don't need to you don't need to spend much time, or you don't need to spend more shoe leather cost. Or moreover, maybe you don't need to go to the bank, or you don't need to go to ATM. You just use your smartphone, your electronic device, especially smartphone, tablet, in order to purchase, in order to pay. That's why in the modern technological economies or countries, so this cost is not really a problem, because they can use technology in order to make purchasing, paying, maybe yes, we got a salary from bank, because our companies pay us through bank. That's why we buy goods services through bank. That's why in this case we don't need to go to the bank often, or we may not go to the bank often, or we may not go to ATM often, because every time you can use your phone, mobile phone or smartphone. Yes, you can to check your account in the bank, maybe to withdraw for buying, maybe to pay for what you buy. Okay, so this is not real, not a real problem for modern economy. But however, in some country that not technology, not advancement, it still cost, because people will go to the bank, to ATM. In contrast, this cost is not significant in the low inflation rate economy, as people won't go to the bank often. So when inflation very small, people still hold cash in hand. That's why they don't need to go to the bank to deposit. They don't need to go to bank to withdraw money to buy something. Okay, this is in contrast. So this is the third reason. The fourth reason: higher unexpected inflation will hurt the wage earners but benefit to employers. Higher unexpected inflation also hurts the creditors, lenders, money lenders, but benefits to debtors, money borrowers. Okay, maybe I can give example for this one, for the first one here. Especially you are a worker, okay, or employee. You are a worker or employee. So you work for your company right now because you sign contract. Okay? You sign contract. Contract have period of time. Let's say 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Okay? Let's say 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And in one term in your contract is about your salary. Yes, there are many terms like working condition, location, working location, working condition, position, or the other incentive bonus. And also one term is your salary. You accept this salary because you expect that inflation is around this percent every year. Inflation is around this percent. That's why during this contract period, you expect that inflation not going in faster, just around that percent as normal rate. That's why you accept your you accept your salary and work for your company, work for the company. But after signing contract, and inflation go up faster. So if inflation go up faster, it means that price of goods services in economy go up faster. That's why your amount of money cannot buy goods that you expect. Okay, you expect to buy this amount of money with this price increasing, you can buy this amount of goods. This is what, when you sign the contract, you expect that. Okay, if I accept this job, I will get this salary, and because of price in economy is that level, that's why this salary can enable me to buy this amount of goods. That's why this amount of goods can help me to live or to survive well in 1 month or every month. But after signing contract, the inflation go up more than what you expect. Okay, that's why this salary that you get cannot buy cannot buy this goods services as you expected. That's why you need to buy, you can buy less. If you buy less, what happened? It hurt you. That's why inflation hurt you. What does mean inflation hurt you? Inflation, higher inflation or higher unexpected inflation hurt you, because you expect that the price is about going up by this percent, that percent, but actually when the price go up more than this percent, so your salary cannot be increased, because after signing contract, you cannot negotiate to change your salary. That's why this is hurt the workers. However, your company, because you already signed contract, that's why your company, just based on the contract, they pay based on the contract. Okay, they pay based on contract. That's why your salary is still the same amount. When the price go up, your salary stay the same amount. So you will buy less. This is you hurt you. That's why your company tend to be more benefit, because they don't need to pay higher salary to you, because contract it said that your salary is amount, cannot more than. That's why in this period, during your contract period, your salary got benefit and you got hurt. Okay, this is in terms of employers and employees. However, in terms of lenders and borrowers, okay, for example, Mr. A has money and lend this money to Mr. B, and negotiating, let's say Mr. B will pay interest 5% every years. Okay, we'll pay back to Mr. A 5% every year. Okay, they sign contract. After sign contract, higher unexpected inflation go up. Inflation go up. Normally they expect that when they sign contract, they expect that inflation only 2%, but now inflation go up by up to 7%. So increase from 2% to 7%. But Mr. B, based on signed contract, they pay interest rate 5% every year, not 7%. That's why Mr. A got hurt, Mr. B got benefit. Because even though in economy inflation go up, price go up, but the interest rate that Mr. B paid to Mr. A for borrowing money is still 5%. Okay, so this is the other reason that people do worry too much about inflation. If inflation is higher than expected over 3 years of contract, the 3-year contracted workers will lose their salary purchasing power. They got the same, yes, actually they got the same salary. Based on contract, they got the same salary, but the salary can buy less quantities of goods from period to period, from year to year, because higher expected inflation coming. But it will gain benefit to these worker employers, to these companies, because this company or this employer or business owner don't need to pay them higher salary, because contract said that only that amount of salary cannot be higher. Okay, if inflation is much higher than expected over the periods of mortgage agreement, this is in terms of borrow money to buy a house or to buy real estate, to buy house, the borrowers will gain benefit, but a loan officer or bank will suffer. Inflation creates unexpected redistribution of wealth. So in this case, inflation make unfair benefit between workers and employer, or lender and borrowers. Okay, unfair for in this case, when inflation go up more than expected, so worker, lender will got less or got hurt, employers or borrower will got benefit. got more advantage or more benefit. Okay, that's why inflation creates unexpected redistribution of wealth. The other reason, inflation makes people difficult to forecast the prices over long periods of time. It interferes the long-term planning. Because the price is going up, we don't know for sure whether the price going up the same track, the same way. No, if the price going up the same way, it's easy to make a long-term forecasting. But sometimes, some period price go up smaller, some period price go up faster, some period price go up less, go up more, go up less, go up more. That's why it's not easy to make plan for a long-term plans. Okay, because inflation always make it difficult for people to forecast the price. Next 10 years, so how much is the price? How much will be the price for food, for gasolines, or for gasoline, or for foods, or for anything else? Okay, suppose that you are a 20-year-old new staff and want to enjoy a certain standard of living when you are retired. How much your income do you need to save to make your dreams in a reality? You are 20, suppose that you work the other, let's say 40s or 50 in order to retire. If you retire earlier, you work for 30 years, so you will retire at age 50. Or if you want to retire age 60, you need to work 40 years. That's why how much you need to pay, you need to save in order to spend when you got retirement. Okay, so this is a long period of time. That's why you cannot predict how much you pay every month, every year in order to save, in order to keep it for your spending when you retire. You may end up saving too little or having to compromise on your retirement plans, or you may save too much, sacrifice. If you think that inflation in next 40 years, 30 years is still a little bit higher than today, that's why you save less today, because 40 years time, 30 years time, you can get more money, enough money in order to live, to enjoy their retire life. Okay, but if you think that inflation in next 20 years, next 30 years, 40 years is too much, that's why you try to save a lot of money today. If you save a lot of money today, what happened to your life today? Because you save much today, you will have money less in order to buy goods, services for today's. Okay, that's why you may save too much, sacrificing more than what you need during your working time or working years. That's why when you save too much, you have less money to buy goods, services in order to survive every day. That every day or every year is your working years. Either way, inflation will have fruit costing. Okay, even inflation little or inflation go more, so this is we cannot predict, we cannot estimate, or we cannot forecast precisely for long period of time. Let's say 20 years or 30 years or 40 years. Okay, so you can go to recap on you can go to your textbook, recap on page 488. You can see reviewing concept of this one. Okay, the other one, hyperinflation. Previous one, I'm just talking about inflation. Okay, hyperinflation and inflation the same. Actually, hyperinflation is very special inflation because it's a very extreme high rate of inflation. Okay, there's no accurate definition in terms of high inflation. Some economic textbook they say 50% per year, 100% per year, or some people say 200% per year, 300% per year. Some they say 500% per year, 1000% per year. Okay, so we actually we don't have a unique definition of higher inflation, but they just agree each other that higher inflation refer to economic situation with very high our inflation rate, more than 100% per year, or 200% per year, or 300 or 400 or 500% per year. Let's say in 1923 German inflation rate was about 102 million%. This is very bad, extremely bad. A study of market economists during this year to that year showed that 40 episodes of high inflation, more than 100% per year in 25 countries. In the past few decades, episodes of higher inflation have occurred in Israel 400% in this year, Nicaragua's 33,000% in that year, several South African countries including Bolivia, Argentina, Brazil, most recently Venezuela forecast to have more than 1000% per year for inflation. That's why this is example of hyperinflation. Okay, inflation and interest rate. This is the last point of chapter 18. Inflation and interest rates. This is also linked to what I presented. This one, okay, this link to this one example. This one, remember that workers and employer contract, a lender and borrower contract. So which is this one. The unanticipated inflation helps borrowers or debtors, but hurts lenders or creditors. That's why this is also explained in previous reason of true cause of inflation. Yes, again, this one, this slide. Suppose that two neighboring country A with 2% annual inflation rate, country B 5% annual inflation rate. Bank deposits pay 5% annual interest rate in country A and 7% annual interest rate in country B. So bank in country A will pay interest rate only 5% because lower percentage of inflation. But country B pay higher than country A. Bank in country B pay percentage interest rate higher than country A because country B have higher inflation rate. In which country are bank depositors getting better deal? Why? Okay, why? Real interest rate. So this is about relationship between inflation rate and interest rates. So interest rate divided by 2. In economy, the interest rate by 2. One real interest rate. Real interest rate is annual per year or yearly, is annual percentage increase in purchasing power of financial assets. Okay, financial asset, for example, money, your cash, your gold, bond, stock. Okay. Nominal interest rate, yes, the other one, nominal interest rate or market interest rate, is the annual percentage increasing in money value of financial asset. So in economy, in a country, you cannot see real interest rate. If you go to the bank, you go to financial market, you cannot see real interest rate. You can see nominal interest rate. That the rate post or show you when you enter to the bank. You can see, okay, if you put saving deposit 1 year, you got this percentage. If you put 2 years, you got this percentage. If you get maybe saving account, you got this percentage per year. That's why those ones are nominal interest rate or market interest rate. Okay. Nominal interest rates are the most commonly stated rates stated rate in financial markets and banking systems. Okay, when you go to the banks, you can see, okay, this rate, that's why those one nominal interest rate or market interest rate. But you cannot see real interest rate in economy. But in order to find a real interest rate in economy, you need to calculate. This is the formula that we need to use in order to calculate for a real interest rate. In order to get a real interest rate, you need to have nominal interest rate, and you need to have inflation rate. Okay, in order to get a real interest rate, you need to have nominal interest rate and inflation rate. By taking nominal interest rate minus inflation rate, this is real interest rate. You can go to see example to study example 18.8, real interest rate since the 1970s on page 490. Okay, you can see by that one your own. For a given nominal interest rate, the higher inflation rate lower the real interest rate. Okay, interest rate, nominal, inflation rate. Okay, is it that one formula? This one. So real interest rate equal to nominal interest rate minus inflation. Pi is inflation rate. Pi is inflation rate. Okay, if nominal interest rate constant given because no change, and higher inflation rate, that's why a real interest rate go down. Okay, real interest rate go down. Expected inflation rate may not hurt lenders if they can adjust the nominal interest rate. Okay, back to Mr. A, Mr. B lending money, borrowing money. If both of them expected in the future inflation rate will be go up than expected, that's why inflation interest rate that borrower pay to the lender will be adjusted based on a real time or real circumstance. Economists therefore distinguish between the expected real interest rate, the actual real interest rate. The expected real interest rate measured by nominal interest rate minus inflation rate that is expected at the time of purchasing, the time of doing, purchasing, doing, or borrowing, or depositing, something like this. This is expected. Okay, that's why we take nominal minus inflation that we expect to be happening at that time. Our actual real interest rate measured by nominal interest rate minus the inflation rate that actually prevailed. Okay, prevailed. So this is called expected inflation, the actual one. That's why when we sign a contract, in order to avoid hurting or maybe losing or gaining, or to avoid distribution of wealth, distribution of wealth, that's why we need to use this. Okay, so when we use when we sign contract for work, or when we sign contract for agreement for lending or borrowing money, we need to think about that one. So we should think about real wage for signing working contract, or we should think about real interest rate when we make agreement of lending money or borrowing money. Inflation protected bonds. This is happened in the United States, especially in 2007-2008 when financial crisis was happening. Okay, inflation protected bonds are the US government bonds that pay the real rate of interest plus inflation during the period of time of that year. Okay, so the bond that government produce in order to sell into the market in order to get money. That's why this bond they pay real interest rate. not nominal interest rate or not market rate. Holders of inflation protected bonds suffer no loss. Okay, suffer no loss in the real wealth even if inflation unexpected is high, because this bond pay in terms of real interest rate, not market rate or not nominal interest rate. That's why in order to study the relationship between inflation rate and interest rates, we use Fisher effect. Fisher effect is the economic theory that developed by Irving Fisher in the early 20th century. This theory describes one-to-one adjustment between nominal interest rates and inflation rates in economies. One-to-one, what does it mean? Okay, based on our formula, just one-to-one. If inflation rate go up by 1%, market interest rate also go up by 1%. That's why 1-to-1. If inflation rate in economy go up by 2%, this is also go up by 2%. Just 1-to-1. Okay. If inflation rate in economy go up by 5%, so nominal interest rate or market interest rate also go up by 5%. Why? In order to keep a real interest rate constant. Okay, that's why this is one-to-one adjustment. Based on this theory, the direct relationship for nominal interest rate and inflation rates. The direct relationship for nominal interest rate and inflation rate, which means the nominal interest rate will be high when inflation rate is high, or will be low when inflation rate is low. Okay, so this is come to the end of chapter 18. Yes, you can watch and study. If you are not clear, okay, you can contact me. However, you have some practice, so I will give you those practice so you can check. Okay, now it's time for you to watch and study, and don't forget the practice here.